Hey guys, Dr. Uyiosa here, and last year I shadowed the CEO of a £600 million NHS trust. I collaborated with YouTube Health and was invited to the Google office on multiple occasions. I started my newsletter, scaled my side hustles, and did loads of other really cool things that I'll be sharing in due time, all whilst working as a junior doctor in the UK. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing how together we can level up in 2024 in the area of finance, health, relationships, and all the good things in between. So if that's of interest to you, then stay tuned. The first thing is write your vision down and make it plain. I don't know what it is about writing down your dreams and aspiration, but it makes it so real and it works. I wrote down that I wanted to become a doctor, that I wanted to be on TV, I wanted to travel to certain places in the world, and I have done so as a result of writing down my dreams and being focused and coming up with a strategy on how to achieve it. One of the things that I have found useful is breaking down my dreams into different categories. I come up with 5 categories every year on which key parts of my life that I want to focus on, and they tend to be health, career, finance, self-development, and relationships. And then I take each of those categories and I break them down further. So health, I break down into my emotional health, my mental health, my physical health. In terms of finances, I usually break that down into my short-term finance and my long-term finance, and each has a length of time attached to it. When it comes to self-development, that is literally anything that will make me a better version of myself. So I set reading targets and how many books I want to read in a year. I try to learn new hobbies. So last year I learned how to swim, as crazy as that sounds, and I learned how to play golf. One thing that I will say I've noticed in speaking to other people is that over the years, we kind of play it safe when it comes to our dreams and aspirations. I remember, for example, when I was a kid, I used to think the craziest things and I was super optimistic that they would just happen. Whereas when I look back to my dreams now, they aren't as crazy and as audacious as they could be. And I just want to encourage you, whoever's watching this, if you've written down already your goals for 2024, I want you to 10x it. I want you to stretch yourself. I want you to open up yourself to crazy possibilities happening for you, just because dreaming is free. When we look at the world that we live in today, the reason why we are used to what we call normal now is because someone dared to dream. Someone dreamed of a car, someone dreamed of a plane, someone dreamed of our favorite fashion brands, the food that we're eating and the different cuisines that we have. Someone literally dreamed. And yeah, if I just want to encourage whoever is watching this, please dream. Most importantly, once you've written down your dreams for the new year, so in our case 2024, it's super important that you focus on the strategy, the how your dream will become a reality. And within this, there's loads of different questions that I think about every year, and I will share a few of them for you guys in case it's helpful. The first thing that I think about is, how will I go about achieving this? What do I need to do? Who do I need to become? What skill sets do I need to learn in order to make sure that this dream becomes a reality? And sometimes it requires me going to conferences, it requires me to network and speak to other people in this space who are doing what it is that I wish to do. The second thing that I think about is time frame. As I've gotten older, I've become a lot less fixated on when something needs to happen by, just because life is life, and if it doesn't happen by Q1, it doesn't mean it won't happen at all. And I've just learned anyway that it's important to have a degree of flexibility, but you can attach a time frame or a deadline to it if you find it helpful. The third thing that I think about is accountability. My dreams that tend to be harder in the sense of habit forming or just something that's completely outside of my comfort zone, I like to bring people on the journey with me, and they help to hold me accountable. Now, if you are going to ask for accountability, it's super important that you define what accountability means to you. Do you want them to check in on you on a weekly basis? Is it going to be at the end of the month? In between the check-ins, how will they know whether or not you are on the right track or if you're slightly deviating off target? I think in the instances where accountability didn't work for me or didn't work as effectively as it could have, it was because the terms of the accountability weren't well defined. So definitely sit down and think about how effective accountability will look like for you. The second thing is solitude. Now, there's a difference between solitude and isolation, and I'm not saying that you should isolate yourself the rest of this year and you should cut off all contact from friends and family. I'm saying that you should spend some time alone in solitude, and it doesn't have to be for the entire year, it could be a couple of days, but I found that solitude allows me to reconnect with myself. It helps me to just shut out all external noise and allows me to really think about where I am in my life and if I am content with my life, and if I'm not content with an area of my life, why is that, and what can I do differently to make sure that there is progress and there's growth, so that when I look back at the end of the year, I can be like, well done girl, you did that. Solitude looks different for different people just because we all have different circumstances. I know that some people like to fly out or like to do a solocation or a staycation. If you don't have the means to, that's not the only way that you can have some time alone. You can literally just disconnect from social media and be in your house and just writing and reconnecting with your thoughts. As far as you are sitting down and you're thinking and you're really allowing yourself to hear what you have to say away from society's expectations of you and other people's expectations of you, that's all that matters. I would definitely recommend trying to create a time for solitude at the beginning of the year, in the middle of the year, and at the end of the year. So this doesn't negate you checking in on how much progress you're making at the end of each quarter. It's like an added bonus, like an added check-in to make sure that you're doing what you wanted to do in a year and you haven't deviated too far. And in the case that you have and it happens, you're finding the time to identify what caused you to do it, how to realign back to where you want to be, and just making sure that you put measures in place so that you don't deviate off track again. The third thing is healing from your past. You can't move forward if you haven't dealt with the things in your past, just because, unfortunately, it's a bit like skipping classes. And the same is like when you don't heal from your past, you don't notice that it's following you, but it starts to manifest itself into things that you do. And in 2024, we don't want anything to hold us back from achieving everything and anything we set ourselves to do. And I don't know about you guys, but for me, I have found it a bittersweet process. I love how I feel at the end of it, but in the middle of it, it is the ghetto. But one thing that I have found helpful is sharing my burdens and how I'm feeling and what it is that I'm dealing with those around me. It has helped me feel lighter. I have also found solace in praying about it. So whatever it is that you need to do to be the best version of you and to heal from your past, do. And one thing that I will say is be patient and be gracious with yourself. You find that sometimes you end up reliving the emotions that you've been trying to compartmentalize, and that is hard. So definitely give yourself grace and make sure that you surround yourself with people who can support you in that time, because it's not easy. 4, let this be your year of new experiences. The one thing that I love about new experiences, you can't predict what the outcome will be. You'll either love it or you'll hate it. If you love it, then there's probably a reason why you really liked it, and if you hated it, then again, there's a reason why you hated it. But either way, you will unlock another layer of insight into yourself, which will help with your self-awareness as a whole. There's so many new things you can try as well. You can learn about a new culture, you can try new food, you can go to a different country, you can volunteer, go on a retreat, go to events, solo travel. The world is your oyster, but the key thing is put yourself out there. Let this be the year where you don't overthink everything. Now, I'm not saying that you don't think at all and then you end up in a sticky situation. I'm just saying don't be the person who overthinks to the point where they don't do something that actually could have been an open door to other opportunities. And the last thing we're doing in 2024 is we're taking our time back. One of the things that I found last year is We live in a very reactive society, and by that I mean we spend a large proportion of the day reacting to someone else's urgency or someone else's emergency, and that could be in the form of work, it could be in the form of distractions, it's literally anything that isn't aligned with your priority at the time. So one of the things that I will be implementing this year, so as I'm speaking to you, I'm speaking to myself, is time blocking. And time blocking is when you set aside a specific time in your calendar every week or every few days, depending on how frequently you want to do it, for an activity to happen, and you gatekeep it. So even if there is something else that clashes or could have clashed with that activity, because it's already in your calendar, chances are you probably will fulfill it. And this can be anything. It could be time used for seeing friends, going swimming, writing, reading, like doing whatever it is that you want to do to be a better version of yourself that will leave 2024. And the second half of this is not overcommitting. In 2024, let your yeses be yes and let your no's be no. I think it's so easy to say yes to everything and then become overwhelmed and burnt out, and as a result of being burnt out, not being able to give 100% of yourself to the things that actually require 100%. One thing that I've learned is not every opportunity is an opportunity for you, and it's important to actually take time out to assess the opportunity and be able to see that. It is hard, and some people will probably fight you for saying no to certain things, but I read in a book, it was either Atomic Habits or The One Thing, and they did this thing where they would block out a certain time of their day, crazy opportunity, like whatever it was. If it happened to stumble on the time that they had blocked out, they would just say no to it. And that can be applied to how we see opportunities and just how we guard our time, because our time is the most valuable asset that we have. You can make as much money in the world, but you can't get your time back, and it's important that, this year we are in control of our time and the things that we do with it. And that brings me to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it and you found it useful. If you did, don't forget to drop a comment on what the most useful part of the video was. And I will see you in my next video. I'm wishing you guys a happy new year, and I hope every single thing that you desire comes to fruition. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye!